Miss Americana is a brand new Netflix original documentary directed by Lana Wilson and is about Taylor Swift and what she did during the year that she kind of stayed silent after being abused by the press, and how she came back from that silence with 2 albums. When it comes to Taylor Swift's music and her as a person, I think she's absolutely fine. She's not one of the worst artists I've ever heard, but she's also not one of my personal favourites either. If she was ever to drop a single or an album, I'd happily give it a listen, and I'd never turn it away as if it was like an absolute piece of shit. So, with all that being said, I kind of went into this documentary with a somewhat neutral viewpoint on Taylor Swift as a whole. And I kind of got a good experience out of this documentary going in with that viewpoint, because I was not biased towards Taylor Swift, but I was also not biased against her either. I kind of went in very neutral, and what I got from this documentary was very interesting, and that's kind of the best thing I wanted from this documentary. At the end of the day, I just watched this documentary because it sounded quite interesting. The fact that it was about Taylor Swift just so happened to be something a little bit extra. And yeah, this is a very interesting documentary that really focuses on her as a person rather than the music. The music is still there, but this is more about her beliefs, and why she feels the way she feels. Now, the documentary itself and how it's presented and constructed is nothing particularly groundbreaking, which I would say is my one only gripe with the movie. But that being said, it does a very good job of actually showing what that kind of lifestyle and how much fame can impact someone's life, and how traumatizing it can be if everyone is kind of against you in that sense. And I really found that aspect of the movie quite interesting. Whenever they did focus on her making the music, I also found that aspect quite interesting as well, because that's kind of the one thing you expect to see in a music-related documentary. And what you do get in terms of them making the music is very fascinating, but luckily the movie doesn't spend too much time with that, and instead spends a lot of the time focusing on Taylor, her family, and just how she was impacted by all these different things going on, and how that's changed her mindset over the years. And it's quite interesting seeing how her mindset has changed, because when she first started, she had a very glamorized viewpoint of going into stardom and all this kind of stuff. But now that she's been in stardom for quite a while, that viewpoint is changed, and she now just wants to do what is right. And I think that is a really interesting message for a documentary like this to put out there, but also is one that doesn't feel forced in any way. And talking about being forced and stuff like that, that is the one thing I do not like with a lot of documentaries. Whatever documentary you watch, you are always seeing someone's viewpoint, as it is made by a director who has a specific opinion or a specific feeling towards a specific subject. So you are always getting their specific opinion on the movie. They have edited it and filmed it in a way that gets their viewpoint across. However, I always prefer documentaries that present that person's viewpoint in a way that still leaves the audience enough room to put their own opinions in and make their own mind up. I'm not a massive fan of documentaries that force an opinion on you and say, this is how you must be feeling, because that just seems very manipulative, and it just kind of seems a bit wrong. I think the best documentaries are ones that can present a topic to you in a completely neutral sense, that give the audience a lot of room to think for themselves. And even though Miss Americana does have a few points where it can feel like it may be being emotionally not manipulative, but it may be tugging at your heartstrings or getting you to feel a certain way, it never forces it on you, and instead presents everything in a way that is like, so this is what happened to Taylor, whether you think it's good or not is completely up to you. And I think that's the best way you can go about making a documentary. And the fact that this documentary does that is really good in my opinion. Apart from that, I don't really have much else to say about Miss Americana. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Was leaning more towards a 6.5, but I think I'm happy with giving it a 7. It's on Netflix now if you want to give it a watch, because it is a very interesting documentary to watch just for the sake of, you know, it being something. I think fans of Taylor Swift are going to absolutely love this, and obviously haters of Taylor Swift are going to trash all over this thing. But for what it is, I thought it was very good. So guys, that was my review of Miss Americana. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye!